All right, Michael here. Michael here to give you the latest on what's going on out there in the weather community so far. As you can see here, we have our tropical development that is possible in areas of the Gulf. As you can see here, tropical depression potentially transferring into a tropical storm. Potentially, I think we could possibly get to a hurricane status, and we'll talk about that later in the video. But make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll get right into this. And as you can see here with the Storm Prediction Center, this is going to be for today. We might as well go into tomorrow. Tomorrow from the Storm Prediction Center, we're going to have those areas of severe weather in the Midwest. We talked about this, the Midwest, northwest of Chicago specifically. You're going to be in this orange area. It's not going to be very good tomorrow. Tornado threat tomorrow with those dash lines. Going to be around those cities right there that you see on your screen if you're familiar with those towns. Northwest of Chicago, you're going to have some issues as well. So that's something we want to watch out for as well. Now, as we get into areas specifically over North Carolina, we have a wind threat. Hail threat tomorrow, going to be along the Midwest. Those dash lines that you got to watch out for those risks as well. Into Tuesday. Tuesday is actually going to be an interesting day of severe weather. We're going to have a major portion of the East Coast into the Midwest, the Mid Atlantic, from Louisville all the way into Pittsburgh. And as you can see, they're into areas of the southern apps and whatnot with the marginal risk. But as you get mainly in the Midwest and the New England area, you're going to have that level 3 out of 5. So, what does this mean for the probabilistic outlook? We have the dash line specifically in the middle part of the country. And that's something we got to watch out for as we get in the upcoming days. That'll change, and then you have the low prediction, things like that of that nature. So and whatnot. So model data, because if you came here for the model data, we've got the model data for you. And that was a weird glitch. I don't see any model data here. We're having some technical difficulties at the moment. Let's just I'll try to get this fixed for you guys. Give me a second. All right, we are back up and running. So as we get into areas around Tampa, as you can see, this storm is developing here, and look at that storm moving around, getting those millibars, strengthening, and then trying to move towards New Orleans. Now, let me tell you here, New Orleans, you're not going to guarantee get this storm system. So let me explain why this storm is moving in the direction it's moving in. So you have a high pressure right here, and you also have a high pressure right here. Here's our low pressure into this area right here. Well, our high pressure here, which is going to be our Bermuda high, and we also have a high pressure that is in this direction. We sort of have two high pressures. This storm's moving in like a straight direction. It's moving towards the sides, as you can see, left and right, left and right, left and right. And when you have a storm with those low pressure, not low pressure, those high pressures there, see how it's gonna sort of move in this direction, because this high pressure that's over here is going to try to weaken. I know you saw it pop over there on your screen, but it's going to try to weaken there, that high pressure. So this storm is going to try to bring it this way. The determining factor is when is it going to turn? When are we going to see that turn? When can we see that happen? We have many different things that could happen to that level, so that we have to wait and see on how that works exactly. But for our time being with the storm, the possibility of this is probably going to become Tropical Storm Bertha at this point. If we look at our satellite, the satellite is not satellite. All right, satellite, you don't really see a lot of clouds, but as we get into the upcoming days, you'll see the storm just. We'll just switch to the National Hurricane Center cone, and here's a look at that cone. And this is something that I want to explain here. this is where the center of the cone could go. So the center could go up here to Pensacola. The center could go here. If the center, and this is an if situation, if the center manages to go right here, we will probably get some strengthening. And I don't want to say we're going to have a major hurricane. That's not what I want to say, but I think we will have the potential of a hurricane here if it decides to bypass Louisiana as a whole. If we get into New Orleans, skip over the islands a little bit, maybe we have a little bit of weakening and whatnot, but that Florida, that potential for that Florida impact, that straight up scenario, it seems to have gone out the window at this point. But still, if you're in these areas, like right into here, if you're in these areas right into here, you're still going to get impacts from the tropical storm alone when it does form as it is expected to form. Now look at the Weather Prediction Center. As you can see here, we have a slight risk of that rain. Still have the ongoing flooding that's going on in Texas. As we get into day 2, flooding, day 3, flooding. But look along the coast. That's something we got to watch out for. You can definitely see it pop up as we get into that tropical development, mainly around the coast of Texas. So that's something we got to watch out for as well. We might as well look at the NAMA model and see what we get out of that. And that brings it east of New Orleans. We have different scenarios that are happening here. So we know that this storm is probably going to turn. We know it's going to move up and move in this direction as we get into like. We know it's going to do this. Bad example. We know it's going to do this. But then does it go here? Does it go there? Does it go there? Either way, if you're on areas that are in the coast, you're not. Well, let me say it like this. You are going to be affected by this by rain. This is going to be a big rain maker, and you've got to watch out for the potential for flooding. So even if you don't have a tropical storm warning or watch, you have to be on alert here. As you can see, tropical storm watches are in effect for Panama City, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola. In those areas, tropical storm warnings for the waters in that area. You also have some tropical weather statements here that you can't see on your map. But yeah, flood watches will remain in effect for areas of eastern North Carolina. Air quality alerts up north. The smoke's going to stay around, and it's going to stay around for those northern parts of the country. Now, heat advisories for the middle part of the country, and just a lot that has to unfold over the next few days. My name is Michael. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, share the video with a person you know, and I'll see you out there in the weather community.